Good morning. It is almost the new year. Welcome to the last day of 2023. I had the pleasure this year of talking with people and enjoying things, enjoying the view of life, and for another year. I'll just say it that way. Thank God for that time, this past year. Auld Lang Syne type thing, It will be a new year, so new adventures, and that's how I'm looking at it. Things that I learned. Oh God, what did I learn from this past year? Apparently, what I learned is things that I haven't learned a lot in life. And it's kind of culminated, Simple example is I got a child who is just turned 30. And I don't know why, but there's been so many years that, those things that escape you occasionally. Anybody in a circle was like, when did you have your, child, or when was your child born? How old were you, and stuff like that. I don't know how many times I've had to sit there and add, and it was like, and I never even thought about it. Now it's just solidly ingrained in my head. As I turn 60. Well, there's a 30-year difference, and it's one of those things that escape you, and you go, "What? Really? Why didn't I think of this before?" type thing, and it seems mundane. It seems silly, but these kind of things occasionally aren't privy to our intellect, aren't given to our collective wisdom until it's time. It's not the fact that I wasn't good at math, it's just because I wasn't, but that's the way it was. So, but one of the other things I was thinking about this past year was, and just more recently, not to get into trends, it's okay to live in a moment for whatever reason, but don't get into trends, or keep your head level about trends, I guess is the way I want to say it. It's good to stay back in a bigger picture. I've noticed it helped my circadian rhythm. I noticed it helped me in a lot of areas, sleeping and stuff like that. There's things that I'm always going to be working on in my life, and that other people do as well. But where I noticed on people, they get caught up in those things that they can't control. And it's not just because they may be control freaks or something like that in their own lives, but they get caught up in things that they can't control. And there's something to be said about resolving yourself. And as they say, laying it down on the altar and let it go to God. Okay? There's some things that we can't control. And yes, that's in the bigger picture, but when you live in the bigger picture, you learn to be that small, breathing entity in the bigger picture. I'll say it that way. And you listen for that still, small voice that is talking to you in there. Okay? It's hard. It's a struggle to constantly do that. But I notice that when you get caught up in trends, you tend to lose yourself. You may have an opinion about whatever the matter is. You may stand solid in thought and whatever, but you get caught up in the trend, which sometimes is designed to pull you out of the bigger picture. It's designed to pull you away from wisdom, from logic, for sure. You know, I've spoke now about being in a group, and if the group starts to turn a direction for whatever reason, a lot of times no fault of their own, but they start to turn in a direction that goes against reasoning. You can't reason with that group. You can't tell them, hey, you're all going to be jumping off a cliff here soon. You know, it's like lemmings on a hillside. To see the bigger picture and stay that little fish in that bigger picture means everything. Stay that little fish in the bigger pond and just realize where you are in that bigger pond is good enough. It really is. You know, so that is what I kind of learned more than anything. And what it's done is given me that peace of mind. We all have our quirks. We all have our own ways of doing things. And much like a person who is disabled or handicapped, or however you want to say it, okay, learning to live within what they can control, okay, and knowing that the sky is the limit, that they can go anywhere, but knowing this doesn't define them. It's merely a character trait. Is essential to a happy life. It's essential to understanding the world around you. And so, and technically, you want to say quirks, we all have those. You know, some of them are visible, some of them aren't, but we're all disabled in certain areas. Some of us aren't going to be concert pianists. Some of us aren't going to be great baseball players. Some of us aren't going to be aren't going to be productive in our own lives for whatever reason, and need that motivation to see out of that picture. But to learn to live in that picture is essential to helping others. There's so many times in my life that I can have fought to work within a certain paradigm. And now I realize that I was fighting the paradigm itself because of wanting to fit in, or because of, whatever the situation was. It was something that was actually beyond my control. And I'm not alone. And so that's just what I wanted to say. Didn't want to get too deep, but I know this drew on a little bit long. Happy New Year. Oh, it's a blessed day. Woke up breathing, and it's a foggy morning on the road. And I just wish everyone nothing but love and safety going into this 2024. Have a good one. Happy New Year.